Now after 2 months, the market value on that game changed dramatically. Because I wasn't checking eBay and I completely forgot about it, I didn't change the price. I think you know what happens here. Lo and behold, it's sold. Hey guys, and welcome to a completely new YouTube channel. This is One More Turn. My name's Darren and I flip and trade video games to build a completely free gaming collection. Today is actually the first episode of the free gaming collection series. And I've actually started this process about 5 months ago, so we've got a lot to get you up to date with, but today is going to be an introduction of sorts into who I am and what I do and what you can expect from this channel. Then at the end, we'll get into the pickups and the latest trades. The theory is really simple and similar to some of the other YouTube channels that are out there. I buy undervalued items from the likes of eBay, Vinted, Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace, car boot sales, anywhere I can find it, and then we look to flip the item at an inflated price. So to give you an example, a console I've done very well from over the last couple of months is the PS4, especially the PS4 Pro. I at times pick them up for around 170, 180 pound. They'd be bundled maybe with a couple of controllers, some games. I would sell the PS4 Pro on for anywhere between 180 and 200 pound with one controller. We'd then take the spare controller into CEX. With the games, I might end up with 50 or 60 pound in vouchers. I'd get my cash back to make sure we're cash neutral, and then I get vouchers to spend in CEX. Other times, if the item's more valuable through eBay, I will just sell it for pure cash. I will be releasing a separate video on how to buy and sell to build a free gaming collection, which will basically cover on my theory of how I've done it over the last 5 months. But for this series, we're going to be tracking every penny spent and every penny brought in, as well as the collection value. Now that value is going to be based on the mean between the eBay price and the CEX price. Kind of depends on the item as well, but the theory is if I went to go and sell my collection again before all the fees, that's the amount I should get. So this seems like a fitting moment to talk about that. We're sat on £100 cash profit at the moment, so I can go and spend that cash whenever I want or reinvest it. As for vouchers, we've got only a few pennies worth on the vouchers left over from a recent trade, and the collection is actually at £5,200, like we already touched on. Now, just for full transparency, I'm not running a £10 to the Ultimate Gaming Collection challenge here. I will do this how I like, so if I end up in negative cash at any point, as long as I know the deals I'm picking up are going to turn that negative cash into positive once it's sold, I aren't bothered about doing that. I don't mind being into a negative as long as I know that it's a safe investment. I do see some channels avoiding incredible deals just because they're sticking tight to a challenge. So that's why I don't like to call this series a challenge, because I don't have specific set rules. The only rule is, in the long term, this should not cost me a penny. Anyway, let's get on to the fun bit and what is actually in my gaming collection. Console-wise, we've got a Wii U, a Switch Lite, we've got an N64, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, which actually I've sold, sorry, we don't have the PlayStation 4 anymore, and a PlayStation 5. Now, the PlayStation 5 I've not included in the collection value. I did get it as a gift. It did not cost me anything, and I'm not adverse to putting those things into the collection because it hasn't cost me a penny, but it just seemed like a big value to chuck on. So right now, for the time being, I haven't included it. I think that's all the consoles. I've got quite a few, so I get a bit lost with it. I've obviously got a lot of controllers to go with all of that. I've got a small amount of Wii U games, only about 3 N64 games. I started collecting for it, and then actually my attention ended up on the Switch. We've got a ton of Switch games. That's by far my highest value, as you can see behind me, and that's because that's how I like to do my collecting. I don't like to go blowing £100 on a 20-year-old Holy Grail. I'd much rather spend £90 on, say, a Switch Collector's Edition that I think could be very collectible in the future and will maybe be worth £160 in 2, 3, 4 years' time. We've also got about 1 row's worth of PS2 games, similar PS3, a lot of PS4s you can see just over my right shoulder, because that's quite well valued at the moment. You can really get some good bang for your buck, and about a row's worth of PS5 PS5 games, which is something we are focusing on as well, because again, I'm trying to find those lower print run games that I think could be worth good money, and the PS5, there are a few of those coming out now. So that gives you an idea of who I am, what this channel's going to be about. Let's get into today's episode, and we're going to begin with the trades. The build up to Christmas was absolutely insane. I think the 3 weeks prior, I must have sold 4 PS4s in the space of 10 days. But then Christmas came and the market dried up. There was nothing coming up on Facebook Marketplace. All the car boot sales were done. The charity shops were dry. But just after Christmas Day, I did spot one really cracking deal. It was for a 3DS. It was a bundle including Pokemon Platinum, which I know goes for £40 cart only on eBay. The 3DS can go for between £60 and £80. This guy only wanted £65. I put in a cheeky bid of 50 and said I can collect right now. He accepted and I couldn't believe it. Now I've had a few deals like this in the past. People just don't seem to know, or some people don't seem to know the true value of the older retro stuff, and they can't be asked to research it. My only slight concern was without having the games in hand, you get a lot of fakes with 3DSs and the DSs in general. So I wasn't sure whether there might be some fakes in there, but based on the fact I was going to be getting at least £20–30 profit from the console alone, I thought it was worth the risk. But we'll see if that's the case later on in the episode. I also received a Paco Rabanne 1 in a million perfume set. Now that was for Christmas, sorry. I don't use perfume. It tends to irritate me, as in I get allergies. So I put that up on eBay alongside the 3DS to see if that would sell. And the final trade was a fairly rare PS2 game, certainly from a very collectible series. I bought it months ago for a balmy £15. The second I got it, I stuck it up on eBay. Wasn't really interested in selling it, so I put it at a very high price. I think about £15 or £20 over the going rate at the time. Left it on there, forgot all about it. Now after 2 months, the market value on that game changed dramatically. Because I wasn't checking eBay and I completely forgot about it, I didn't change the price. I think you know what happens here. Lo and behold, it's sold. So I had a bit of a dilemma on my hands. But first we had to wrap up the perfume set because that sold for £45, which was $34.49 after the fees and the postage. As for the 3DS, I was shocked to see it in exceptional condition. I've not seen a 3DS with no scratches on the screen or the case like ever. It had the official Nintendo charger as well, so I put some of the fodder games with that, the ones that weren't going to get much, and I listed it on eBay for £95. That sold very easily. I also listed Pokemon Platinum for I think £45. That sold literally within 24 hours. I then took the rest of the games into CEX and traded them in for £40-something voucher. All the figures will be coming up on screen. So as you can imagine, I was over the moon with that. We got £68.79 cash profit after all the fees to go into the gaming fund, and not far off £50 in CEX vouchers for what was essentially a 1 hour drive all around. Okay, let's backtrack to that rare PS2 find. It was of course Silent Hill 3. It came with 2 manuals. I know, really strange. I sold one of them on eBay for a tenner straight away. Like I said, listed the game itself, all complete, really nice condition, on eBay, way above the value that it should have been. It probably would have gone for around £30–35 at the time. I listed it for 50 to avoid that happening because I kind of wanted to hang on to it. Forgot all about it, but then unbeknown to me, they announced Silent Hill 2 remastered just after or around October. The market for all the Silent Hill series, all the old retro games, went bananas. The Silent Hill 3, by the time we got up to Christmas, was going for near as £60. So while mine sold for 50, which is still a nice amount, still a nice profit, around £30, not only have I lost out on a tenner now, I honestly think that come December next year, because that's probably when the remaster will come out at the earliest, I think it's going to explode at that point. Christmas is always a really good time to sell stuff, prices are always inflated, and if the remaster's coming out around Christmas or just after, that is the point where people have that nostalgic feeling to play 3, bearing in mind the remaster is Silent Hill 2. So, you know, there isn't a remaster of Silent Hill 3 out there that I'm aware of. I just think all the components are there to make for an absolute killing. But I had to stick with my agreement, so I did end up selling the game. Lesson learned. Anyway, let's move on to something a bit more positive and my pickups. I've got quite a bit on pre-order, a load of stuff coming in the post, but for now, today, we've only got 2 to talk about. The first one is Sonic Generations on the PS3. This is just your typical Sonic game, a little bit of a rarer find. I got it on Facebook Marketplace for £3. Some guy listed a load of games on there, £3 each. There's only this one that's worth picking up. It's complete, in the box, manual. The game itself, I haven't looked at it yet to be fair, is perfect, no scratches. Really, really nice pickup this. It sells on at CEX for £12. I think it goes trade at £8. So even if I just wanted to flip this and make a bit of profit, I could do that. If you're not sure what the values of games are, guys, looking at Sonic and Mario games are always worthwhile because they tend to hold the value quite well. And I have not seen this game out in the wild in CEX or anywhere for that matter ever, really, not for a very long time. So I thought it was worth picking up at that price while it was available. And my other pickup actually just landed today. It's a Switch game. It is a dungeon crawler made by NIS America. A little bit of a tip for you guys. If you're looking for potentially collectible games in the future, NIS America are very worth looking at. They tend to hold the value quite well. And it's Labyrinth of Refrain. It comes with a nice little art book as well, which is quite a nice little addition. It's in really nice condition. There's a little sleeve in there as well. Everything looks great. They always have reversible covers. And while this isn't the sort of game I will probably play, it's going in the collection because I got it for about £23. And if you have a look at price charting, the price started up there. It kind of went down, and then around about 3-4 months ago, I think, it started rising in value again. It hasn't gone that much up from its base value, but I do think now that all the print runs are probably gone, the game's been out quite a while, I think it will now continue to rise in value. It's an NIS America game. They always seem to be quite popular. So after 3 great trades, despite the slowdown at Christmas, and 2 really good pickups, let's update the figures. The cash profit stands at £210.55. CEX vouchers, we have £48.08, and the collection value stands at a drum roll, £5,280. That concludes today's episodes. We have more deals in the pipeline, plenty of pre-orders coming in, loads of games that are lined up for in the post. So make sure you subscribe and you hang about for episode number 2 because we've got loads to talk about. I've got a ton of video ideas, and the next video that comes out should be my 31 potentially collectible Switch games. I would highly recommend catching that one, guys, because I think there are some corkers in there, and there's one that is due out at the end of January that I believe could make a pretty penny. I will see you all for that one. Take care, guys.